Yo, what's up? Welcome back to another episode of the SWAS College Football Wednesday. Not exactly the most exciting games on the board, but we're going to go through them. College Football Wednesday, let's do it.
Welcome to the SWAS. The SWAS. SWAS. Hey, get the SWAS.
First up, we got Liberty on the road at Kennesaw State. This line is now 25.5. It was at 24 yesterday, so it looks like the number's continuing to be bought up. Total sitting at 45.5 or 46, depending on your sports book. Let's take a look at the pie charts, and according to the data, shocker, action's coming in on the Liberty side. Actually, it's not even that overwhelming. Over 55% of the tickets on Liberty, about 75% of the money, according to this data. As I always say, take this data with a grain of salt. So let's get into this matchup, and honestly, we're not going to spend a ton of time on that. This is what we call a mismatch. The Liberty offense against the Kennesaw State defense, even though the defense is the strength of Kennesaw State's team. Specifically, the run defense has shown us it can compete at the FBS level. That being said, the talent discrepancy between these two teams is massive. Liberty is probably a top 40, top 50 offense in the country. They're sitting at 53rd in OFEI. Probably a top 25 rushing attack. They're 23rd in yards per carry, 19th in success rate per rush, 26th in effective rush. I know Kennesaw State is coming off a great defensive performance in their last game on the road at Middle Tennessee, and they do deserve some credit because Middle Tennessee can throw the ball with Vadiato. They held Middle Tennessee to just 14 points. Unfortunately, they only scored 5. Final score of the game was 14-5, literally. But holding Middle Tennessee on the road to 4.06 yards per play, that's an impressive defensive performance. The problem is the game before that, they got lit up to another planet. Jacksonville State, 63 points, 7.4 yards per play. So what do we do with that information? I mean, they're coming off a great defensive game. Does that mean this Kennesaw State defense is slowly improving, or is that just an outlier? Because the week before that, they got lit up in every single way possible. I mean, I'm trying to find angles for you here. Kennesaw State has played solid defense against the run on the road. Check this out. In their 3 road games, they're holding opponents to 2.35 yards per carry. Like I said, if there's one aspect of the Kennesaw State football team that can compete at the FBS level, it's probably the run defense. They've played great defense against the run on the road. None of these teams can run the ball, but still, let's give them some credit. Here's the problem. Liberty most definitely can run the ball, and look how Kennesaw State has defended the run at home. In their 2 FBS home games, they're allowing 7.3. It's not a typo. 7.3 yards per carry, 54.6% success rate per rush, 321 rushing yards per game. That's against Louisiana and Jacksonville State. Liberty's rushing attack much better than both of those teams. Look, there's no reason for me to spend any more time. I mean, Liberty should score in every possession against this team. They're just outmatched. Then we flip it over to the other side and ditto, copy and paste, because although the Liberty defense is not as good as the offense, the Kennesaw State offense might be the worst thing I've ever seen at the FBS level, and I'm not trying to be funny. They're 134th, dead last in yards per play, dead last in success rate, dead last in PPA, dead last in effective rush, dead last in rushing success rate, dead last across the board here. I don't know if I've ever seen anything quite this bad. This team has no passing attack whatsoever. In their last 4 games, they're averaging 4.58 yards per pass attempt, 27.6% success rate per dropback. And if you're thinking, oh, well, maybe they were focusing on the run, in those same 4 games, they're averaging just 3.1 yards per carry, 30% success rate per rush. So this team hasn't been able to move the ball at all. That's against San Jose State, UT Martin. That's an FCS program. Jacksonville State, okay, that's a somewhat decent defense. Middle Tennessee has a terrible defense. So it's not even like they're playing good defenses. This offense just doesn't belong on the FBS level right now. Now, I guess you can point at Liberty's last game against FIU and be like, hey, this Liberty defense is looking a little shaky. And that's true. I mean, FIU made some plays. They forced overtime, 8.4 yards per attempt. But I mean, FIU has Keon Jenkins. They have an offense. They're not even comparable to the Kennesaw State offense. And in their first 3 FBS games before that, they're allowing just 19.3 points per game, 4.57 yards per play against UTEP. Not to mention, they've played great defense against the run in all 4 of their FBS games, just 3.13 yards per carry, 41% success rate per rush. So look, there's nothing here. I get it if you want to take the big number, don't want to lay 25.5 points on the road. I get it, but I'm not seeing it. Liberty coming off the scare against FIU. In my opinion, they blow the doors off of Kennesaw State here, so it would only be Liberty. Probably not going to bet this. Next game. Middle Tennessee on the road at Jacksonville State. A slightly better game. We're still looking at a line north of 20, though. Jacksonville State laying 20.5. Looks like the 21s are gone. This was at 21. Total sitting at 63.5. Let's take a look at the pie charts here, and according to this data, action's coming in on the Middle Tennessee State side. Over 70% on the Blue Raiders, over 70% of the tickets, over 75% of the money coming in on Middle Tennessee State. Take this data with a grain of salt. So let's get into this matchup, and we'll start with the Middle Tennessee State offense. And so far, a surprisingly inefficient passing attack. This is an offense that could throw the ball last year with Vadiato. They brought the quarterback back. I don't know why it hasn't been there. They're 45th in yards per pass attempt, just 103rd in success rate per dropback, 85th in effective pass. This should be a good matchup for them. This Jacksonville State defense is not great against the pass. They're 101st in yards per pass attempt allowed, 85th in success rate per dropback, 117th in effective pass. But it's definitely tough right now. I mean, if you look at their last couple games, this Middle Tennessee State passing attack is just really underwhelming. 35% success rate per dropback, 6.5 yards per pass attempt. Vadiato's numbers looking significantly worse than last year. He's got over 1,700 yards, so he's throwing the ball. Just 7.4 yards per attempt, 7 touchdowns, 5 interceptions. These numbers are falling way short of their expectations. They were expecting him to have a strong year. But here's the thing. This Jacksonville State pass defense, if you look at their numbers from the last 3 games, it looks great. Just 5.43 yards per pass attempt, 25.5% success rate per dropback. These look great. So where's the problem? Look at the opponents. Southern Miss, and by the way, Roadmaker got benched in that game. They're having all types of problems at quarterback. Kennesaw State, the worst offense in college football, certainly the worst passing offense. And New Mexico State, one of the worst offenses in college football that has no passing attack whatsoever. All they do is run the ball, and they're terrible at it. So they've played 3 of the worst passing attacks in all of college football back to back to back. If you look at Jacksonville State's numbers against the pass in their first 3 games when they actually saw quarterbacks that can throw the ball, it was terrible. 310 passing yards per game allowed, 10.43 yards per pass attempt, over 52% success rate per dropback. So this might be the perfect sell high spot on Jacksonville State's pass defense. They played 3 of the worst passing attacks in all of college football all in a row. They were getting cooked through the air back when they were seeing quarterbacks. Now they play a Middle Tennessee offense that we know has a quarterback. These teams played last year. Vadiato threw the ball all over them. Final score was 45-30, but that is not an accurate indication of how that game went. Middle Tennessee had like 500 yards of offense. They outgained Jacksonville State in that game. Vadiato was 26 of 41, 408 yards, 2 touchdowns, 2 interceptions, passer rating over 153. So you got Nicholas Vadiato coming off back-to-back games. Now he sees a Jacksonville State defense that he threw the ball all over last year. And by the way, this year's Jacksonville State defense is way worse than last year's. They haven't had much of a pass rush at all. Just 120th in pressure rate so far this year. So Vadiato's going to have time to throw. He cooked on this defense last year. I think he's going to have a big game throwing the ball. The problem is on the other side of the ball, I just don't know how Middle Tennessee State is going to make stops here. Jacksonville State's offense looks great. They're 12th in yards per play, 38th in success rate, 29th in PPA, 13th in yards per carry, 45th in success rate per rush, 27th in effective rush. Middle Tennessee's defense looks terrible so far. They're awful against the pass. They're pretty awful against the run as well. Slightly better against the run, I guess. This Jacksonville State offense seems to be heating up too. In their last 3 games, they're averaging 53.7 points per game, 7.73 points per play, over 51% success rate. Yes, it was against Southern Miss, Kennesaw State, and New Mexico State. 3 terrible defenses, but Middle Tennessee State is a terrible defense. You can throw them right on this list with these 3 teams. I know we can point at last week's game against Kennesaw State and say, hey, this Middle Tennessee State defense is showing signs of improvement. Yeah, they did play a great game last week. They held Kennesaw State to just 5 points, 3.84 yards per play, 26.7% success rate. This was an awesome game, and it was Kennesaw State, but I mean, they held them to 5 points, 3.8 yards per play. If they held them to 14 points or 17 points, I'd be like, who cares? It's Kennesaw State. But holding them to 3.8 yards per play, that is an impressive defensive performance, but still, let's not forget the game before that, they got lit up. Louisiana Tech, 48 points, 7.55 yards per play, over 51% success rate. This Middle Tennessee defense has looked bad for most of the season. But if you are looking for a silver lining, if you're looking for a reason to take the points with the Blue Raiders, you can point at the fact that they're definitely stronger against the run. And Jacksonville State, offensively, they want to run the ball. They're looking to run the ball. And the Middle Tennessee run defense, it's not good, but it's definitely the strength of their defense. In their last 5 games, they're allowing 4.53 yards per carry, 43% success rate per rush, 163.2 rushing yards per game. That's not bad. I mean, these truly are not bad numbers. Now, to be fair, look at the 5 teams they've played. Western Kentucky, Duke, Memphis, Louisiana Tech, Kennesaw State. None of those teams can run the ball. In fact, the first 4, those are pass-first offenses. So is the Middle Tennessee State run defense better than the pass defense, or have they just been playing no offenses that run the ball? Tough to say. Personally, I'm not laying 20.5. I think Vadiato's going to have a big game throwing the ball, so I would lean towards the Middle Tennessee State side. But Jacksonville State, Rich Rod's been running the number up. So I would go over here, over 63.5. Or let me look up what the what the Middle Tennessee State team total is, because I think Vadiato is going to throw some touchdowns in this game. I think Middle Tennessee is going to get on the board. Middle Tennessee State team total over 20.5. All right, Middle Tennessee State team total over 20.5. Full game total over 63.5. Those would be my 2 picks for this game. Obviously, it's a Wednesday night Conference USA game. Bet responsibly, but I do think Middle Tennessee State is able to get in the end zone a few times here. So Blue Raiders over 20.5. Live show is at 4 p.m. Eastern time. We'll go through the entire NBA slate, and we'll go through these 2 college football games. I'll bring on some guests. We'll make our final decisions. If you're able to make it, we'd love to see you in the comments. If you'd like to see all the bets I currently have open, head over to KyleKirms.com and click on Open Bets. You'll see all mine as well as everyone else on the staff here. Also, if you sign up to Sauce Network Plus, it comes with access to the Discord, and you can participate in the weekly betting league. $150 on one of these trophies go to the winner every single week. So if you're interested, head over to the website and sign up. Let's have ourselves a good one. Please remember to bet responsibly. Talk in the Discord.